Hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. My guest today is the frontman for the LA band Budderside, one of the more interesting newer bands on the scene. The band was signed by Lemmy himself to Motorhead's record label and have toured with the likes of Slayer, Anthrax, LA Guns, and more. They're about to release their second record, Spiritual Violence, on March 26th. From Budderside, please welcome Patrick Stone. Welcome,
What
Patrick.
up? Hey, man. Thanks for having me,
Pleasure to
brother.
have you.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
Spiritual Violence, as I said, your second record. The debut was back in 2016, and there have
Yeah.
been a lot of changes in the band since then. A few lineup changes, things like that. How did you finally settle on a stable lineup, and was that the main reason for the delay between records?
Yeah, actually, it really was. We went through a huge metamorphosis, at least Budderside as a group. Yes. The guys that I originally started the band with were my childhood friends. We had done everything together, and we had been together through thick and thin, and it was really hard. It was a really hard separation, but there were a lot of factors that kind of played in. A lot of arguing started to happen with some of the guys. We just weren't going in the direction that I really knew that we needed to. So I had to follow my heart, and my heart led me to, Sam Bam Colton was the first one to step in, and we just kind of started just raging down this road toward, just letting creativity take over us. After a few arguments got a little bit too heated, we decided to make the switch. And then Sam and I really put our heads together to think of who in town, who in the world would be, our ideal band members. I remember Steven Adler telling me the stories of him and Slash and stuff in school, and how they were so meticulous and who they were going to pick for their final rendition of whatever it was they were going to really set their minds on. And that stuck with me. You know what I mean? It was scratching at the back of my mind my entire life, really. But they had been in a lot of bands together, LA Guns and Hollywood Roses and stuff like that. They finally put together their dream team, Guns N' Roses. But Sam and I kind of did the same thing, and no disrespect to the guys that were in the group. Everybody that's played with me, I just have the utmost respect for. They're very dedicated. I love all of them to death. It's just, sometimes just like with girlfriends, you think you've got the right thing, and then all of a sudden you find something out about each other, and you just take a different direction. You know what I mean? And you gotta pursue what makes you the happiest. But Sam and I found the best of the best in town. And I think we were definitely right in picking who we did, because, we went from a tour bus that blew up down to a little tiny minivan and spent 3 months on the road to get in this little thing, and nothing but laughs. And we just get along great. We just went out to Arizona to record another record with producer Matt Good. And we put ourselves to the test creatively, because not only is it important that you get along, but we also want to have like-minded goals. We also want to know that we're working with people that are going to have input creatively as much as the other guy, so we're trying to keep up with one another, and getting into the studio in that setting put us to the test. And we wrote four of my most favorite songs I've ever heard in my life, and I'm so stoked that it's something that we wrote. So yeah.
And everybody knows the Motorhead connection with the record label, and you being on the road crew. But you also mentioned Steven Adler. You did some work with Steven as well. What was your relationship with him, and how'd that come about?
Alex Grossi brought me in. Alex Grossi and I had worked together. He was in Quiet Riot, and actually I was slated to be the first singer to replace Kevin, and what an honor that was. But that stepped up my game. I really wasn't prepared. I thought I was a professional musician, but I'd really never taken a vocal lesson in my life. But halfway through the auditions, about a month into the thing with Quiet Riot, I decided to take lessons, because I didn't want to lose that gig. And unfortunately, I did lose that one, but I stayed super hard on these lessons with this guru, Ron Anderson. And Alex was still a great friend of mine, and he knew I was ambitious and really trying hard to get somewhere. And all of a sudden the audition for Steven Adler's Appetite popped up. And I walked into that audition, and about 3 songs in, we were doing Sweet Child of Mine. And I was like, whoa, like, I could sing these songs,
Yeah.
which was something I had accepted when I was a teenager, bouncing up and down on my bed, listening to Paradise City, trying to sing along with that stuff. I remember how difficult it was. And I just kind of said to myself, I don't think I'm that kind of singer. I don't think I can hit the notes. And then fast forward quite some time, but then that audition popped up. But Steven and I, we joined forces, I think, right out of the gate. We did 52 shows in 60 days. You know, those were 2-hour sets a night.
Wow.
It was insane. So that was just amazing, playing, you know, my favorite music ever was that Appetite for Destruction record, and the other songs, Reckless Life and all those ones. So just what a rush. But Steven and I bonded like you could only dream of bonding with anyone, famous or unfamous. We just became tight friends. And, you know, I just talked to him a couple weeks ago. He gave us a quote for this new record, telling everybody, tell the world how amazing it is. So yeah, he's just a deep, great friend. Yeah.
And it's cool. Alex Grossi's actually from one town over from where I am right now, originally here in Connecticut. So
yeah,
he's a local celebrity here.
Yeah, he's a cool, great guy. Great.
Now, the record itself, Spiritual Violence, I mean, it's a crushing record, just heavy guitars, but it still has that melody and funk that kind of define you as a band. That being said, though, it's very different from your debut. It's much more of a guitar record than the first one was. You know, the first record, you kind of had some strings in the back and horns and production things. This one's kind of a more in-your-face rock record.
Right.
What led to the direction change? Is it just the change in members? Is it just, you know, time passing?
I think it's kind of stepping into, you know, just becoming a little bit more authentic with what our calling is. You know, it's not really something that we thought of and went for. It's just kind of an evolving process for again, as Budderside as a whole. The debut record, you know, I went through years and years of drug addiction, and I would be hunched over my acoustic guitar. And that's really all I had to get me through those hard times. And I would just write and write and write. And some of the songs off the debut record actually were pulled from those terrible days. And when you have an acoustic guitar, it's kind of like, you know, a lot of feel comes into it, you know, a lot of melody, which I love. I love a lot of acoustic. Some of my favorite artists are acoustic artists, but, to get to the point, just a lot of strumming. I think a lot more strumming stuff went into the first record. When it came time to write the second record, Spiritual Violence, I really pushed myself to the limits. I did most of the guitar writing for the album. In fact, I think 8 out of the 10 songs I wrote every bar of it musically. So I really just hunched over this time on an electric guitar. Really focused on like what I thought would be powerful riffs. I didn't start writing lyrics to something until I knew the music was right. So that was kind of that evolution part of the process that got us. Stepping into the studio with Jay Baumgartner, of course, who's worked with, you know, Papa Roach and Linkin Park and every icon you can think of in the rock and roll world. You know, him just staring down at you, waiting for you to get it right, puts a lot of, you know, class on it. So yeah, the genre kind of really took a focus at that point. And yeah, that's just where it led us. Now going forward, it's amazing. Again, getting with these new musicians, you know, Sam Bam Colton and Logan and Gabe, their musical integrity is so strong that I'm glad I can just put down the guitar, and everything going forward, they write the music. I'll just focus on the vocals. So more of evolution coming, even more so on the next one. But yeah, that's where Spiritual Violence.
And musically, it's a pretty interesting mix for the band. I mean, you sort of have that kind of 80s feel with the work you did with Adler and Quiet Riot and touring with LA Guns. But you mentioned Jay Baumgartner, your producer and mastered by Howie Weinberg. I mean, those guys are responsible for some of the biggest sort of alt-rock 90s sounds.
Right.
You know, with this record, you kind of combine those two eras into something that comes out in a completely modern feel. You know, were you kind of aware as you were going through working with them and their pedigree and your background and seeing how it all comes together?
Absolutely. There was a lot of pressure on me to step away from the genres of my past and kind of step something newer. So I thought Jay was a perfect, at the time, like, you know, this guy's going to make a real modern twist to the group. Not that we didn't. There's a lot of modern stuff in the first record as well. Paul Kilmister, Lemmy's son, was fluent in working with you know, MIDI and computers and everything like that to bring that kind of sound into it. But I think it was definitely focused more so on this record. Jay just does it without any effort. There are a lot of synthesizers and there's a lot of this subsonic sounds going on that you don't really notice, but they are in there. They play right along with the guitars and everything else. So yeah, I thought he was the perfect person to take us a little bit deeper into the genre that I think we'll finally end up in. And I'm not sure we're quite there yet. Like I said, I think we're taking steps even farther. You'll see that the stuff coming out, you know, after this record will be even more refined into, I think, a genre that, you know, hope I'll be talking to you again. It compares to the bands that are today. So yeah.
Yeah, and lyrically, I find you guys fascinating. I mean, there's a lot of positivity and hope in your lyrics, but sort of like Los Angeles itself, there's always kind of a darkness underneath. And in the case of a lot of your songs, I think that darkness makes the bright spots brighter, if that makes any sense. I mean, talk to me a little bit about how you create it lyrically.
First of all, just thank you so much for saying that. It's like live to hear. That's like you put so much of your heart into your songs and stuff that you kind of float through every day, just, you know, just hoping that somebody's going to get it. And when you hear somebody, that's amazing. But yeah, I think above all and everything else, I think I was put here, and my heart is definitely in the lyrics more so than anything else. Sometimes I try to write poetry, but I never feel like it quite strikes the chord that it can with music. But yeah, lyrics are always, it's always like this. There's a lot of pressure that comes on me. I feel like I wait a little bit for the universe to open up to a subject, and then the subject has to resonate very true with me. You know what I mean? I really have to be going through something, or I have to have an experience that I can lock onto. And then I just try to get brutally honest. Matt Sorum told me when I was auditioning for Revolver, he said, "Speak your truth." And that was the first time I did that. Lemmy, of course, was all about that as well. His integrity. I mean, he's legendary for that. But so I think I've always had that kind of in me, but to hear other people that have done it before you definitely solidifies the fact that that's what's really important, that we're speaking our truth, so that after you do take 3 minutes of your day, which is a lot in today's world, you know what I mean? People don't have 3 seconds to spend something that's not real. So I dig as deep as I can, and every lyric is very important. Jay, specifically during this record, helped me shave off a lot of the BS. You know, I'm often a little bit too lyrical. I think you noticed that in the evolution process of lyric writing, the first record to this one too, that it's just like sometimes you can say a lot more with a little bit, with a few less words, you know what I mean? And it sits better on the music. So, but yeah, whether it's girlfriends or world peace or racism or whatever, like when I start focusing on those songs, sometimes I'll just get in my car and I'll drive as fast as I can down the highway at about 3 a.m. And I've been known to get a few tickets while I've been writing lyrics. Like that's when I focus the most. It's like I crank up the music without the lyrics, and I can just scream at the top of my lungs without anybody judging me or listening to me. And it's like I wait for that thing to feel right. I wait for it to sound right, and then I make sure that the lyrics are they're true to my story. They're just true to me. So I hope that they resonate true with other people. And thank you for noticing.
Yeah, you guys did a live stream from the Whiskey on Christmas Eve, which is Lemmy's birthday. But what's it been like for the most part of this year, having this record ready and this new version of the band ready, and just not being able to go out and show what you guys can do?
There was a huge decision to be made. I think we had waited long enough. Again, like you said, changing of the lineup, else that went into like the time in between the first and the second record, there was just this urgency just to kind of let it go. You know, we didn't know how long the pandemic was going to last. So, you know, I felt like we were kind of pioneers, because nobody was putting out any music. Everybody was telling us that was waiting till 2021. You know what I mean? Spring of 2021 was like, that's like the time that people will start thinking about music. So we just decided it's time to put this thing out. We had done, I think, 3 videos by that time. It was around, September or so. And we just said, let's just put this thing out. Let's just start putting one song out every 4 weeks. Took us some time to get the ball rolling. But yeah, December came on and we've been delivering, I think, one song every 4 weeks. We've got one coming this Friday again. And then the album drops next week. But we know that we have what it takes to get in and write something else. So by the time this thing drops, I think that it will have gotten, where it needs to get on the internet with everybody. I think it will reach all the people that it needs to. And it's a stepping stone towards whatever we do next. It's painful. Yeah. We've done like 3 live streams. We did the Monsters of Rock live stream. A few others, the NRG one, the Vakken Worldwide one, and our Lemmy live stream. And it's tough to sit there and, you give everything you got and you
just
kind of
silence.
Yeah. Like it just, there's nothing. And like, you got to pretend you're cool, you don't have anybody to look down and go, hey, oh, you thought it was cool, cool. I feel cool. There's a huge back and forth. So we miss that. But California today, they're opening up things at 25% capacity. So it's like, let's just pray that this thing doesn't start spiking again and we have to close down again. But we can't wait to get out and play this record in its fullest. We've still got Rocklahoma on the books at the end of the summer, and I'm imagining we just got hit up by our booking agent today, so we're hoping that we start filling in the blanks here from now until Rocklahoma.
And it looks like we may be able to get back to some semblance of normal touring, hopefully by the fall, at least by the 4th quarter of the year. Have you given any thought to how you're going to hit the road? Is it going to, are you envisioning going out with another band and playing, theaters or bigger, or are you looking to go out on your own and maybe do some club dates or combination of both? Have you given any thought to that yet?
Yeah, back to the first record. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into like laying down the foundation, which gosh, it's tough. It's tough. We go out there and we bang our head against the wall and we play all these tiny shows. We went through Sweden and Norway and all that stuff. And, there were shows where there were maybe 10 people in the audience, and then the next night you play a festival for, however many thousands of people, but you just keep going and you keep going. And sometimes it felt like we got off the road and we hadn't gotten anywhere, but I keep trying to build relationships with people that can help us. It's all about who you know and who likes you. And then of course, what kind of product do you have to put in their hands that they can sell to, the buyers that are putting on the big shows. So again, this record slamming all of this music and this great material and awesome content that we've been pouring out has gotten me definitely in a lot stronger, gotten us in a lot stronger with the people that we've wanted to be in with for a long time. And now it was like really this week, like I kind of have a few people that we're working with that have kind of like sat on the sidelines to see what this record does. And it was finally this week that I got one of those calls from one of our magnificent, I don't know what to call him, coaches. He's kind of like a coach, like a superhero back there. But we'll be letting you know who all these power players are. But we've been working very hard on getting in with the right people. Yeah. And now that we have them, they're actually the ones asking the questions, like, who are we going to get you out with? We definitely want to lock onto some bigger tours. We know we are, we can't get out there and pretend we're bigger than we are anymore. It does no good to rent a van or buy a motorhome and have it explode and go out just to tour and play for a handful of people. So we're hoping that people will see that what we have to offer now is better than it's ever been, and that will worth that ticket to jump onto something that's a lot bigger. So I think you can expect us getting on a pretty big tour this year, a few of them.
Good. Hopefully we'll be able to catch him when you get out here to the East Coast and say hello.
Yeah.
We've been spending some time here with Patrick Stone, vocalist for the band Budderside. They have a great record called Spiritual Violence. It's out everywhere on March 26th. Patrick, it's been a pleasure having you and meeting you. Best of luck with the record. Really get into it. So I know you're getting some good airplay on Sirius and all of that. So hopefully it's going to go well.
God bless, man. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate you.
My pleasure. Like I said, hopefully we'll catch you when you guys make it out here to the East Coast.
Definitely. I'll hit you up.
You got it. Thank you.
All right. Peace.
Bye.